Hello, fellow stampers. Welcome to Rustic Barn Cards. I'm Terry Hartley, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the U.S. Today, we're going to have some fun using the stamp set Sweet Ice Cream. I really have been having fun with this stamp set. I will have to be honest. At first, I wasn't sure that I was going to like this stamp set, but I bought the entire suite and I love it, and I hope you'll like it too. So today we're going to focus on the popsicles. So I'm going to make a simple card, and then we're going to step it up twice, and then I have another card to show you also. So I hope you'll stay with me. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe by clicking the subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it. And thanks to all of you that are returning. So I'm going to bring in basic white cardstock. I already have it cut and scored. So this will be our card base. And we also are going to stamp on this. So it's 8.5 by 5.5. Sorry about that noise. Almost sounded like the ice cream truck from way back when, didn't it? Okay, so we're going to use this card base to stamp on. We're going to make a simple card. So I am going to bring in, well, actually, I'll show you the card first that we're going to make. So we're just going to do some simple stamping, but I want to show you how to stamp the popsicles if you're new to with this stamp set. So I'm going to bring in Granny Apple Green. And the stamp you're going to want to use first is the one that has it straight across on the bottom. So I'm going to ink this up, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp straight down and press. And then I'm going to bring in a scratch paper to ink on, or stamp on rather, and I'm also going to bring in the piercing mat, because that way it gives a little cushion when I'm using the photopolymer stamp set. All right, which I should have when I stamped first. Now I'm going to bring the popsicle that has the curve at the top, and I'm going to ink this up, and then I'm going to go ahead and just lightly stamp off, just kind of touch it there. I don't think you could see that very well. I'm sorry. I'll do a better job on the next one. And then sometimes I do have a little problem lining this up just perfectly, but you just bring that down, and voila, that worked out great. Okay, I'm going to add the popsicle sticks at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to close up the Granny Apple Green and bring in Bermuda Bay ink. And lay that, and we'll bring our stamp set for the bottom of the popsicle. And we'll ink this, and I'm going to go ahead, and on my sample, I scooted them all up just a little bit, so I'll go ahead and do that. You could make them even. Clean that, and then I'll bring in the top of our popsicle and ink this up. So you can make these straight, and then I'm going to try to show you how here so you can see. So I'm just going to lightly press that, and then go ahead and put this right over the top. There we go. So now I have Daffodil Delight. I can put my stamp. I find that it's easier when I go to line up the top of the popsicle to do it standing up. If you can do it sitting down, awesome. Okay, I clean that really quick. And now we're going to go ahead and ink up the top, and I'll just lightly again just stamp off And then stamp on. And then I'm going to bring in crumb cake and my little stick. Turn it around this way so the flat side is at the top. And ink that up and try to line it up right at the bottom in the middle. And then we're going to stamp a greeting. And I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo Black for the greeting. And treat yourself. And then I'm just going to stamp right here at the bottom. So here we go. Treat yourself. Simple stamping. Let's go ahead and take it up a step. So I'm going to start with a basic white card base, 8.5 by 5.5, and scored at 4 1/4. And I'll be using the Ice Cream Corner Designer Series paper from the January to June mini catalog. And we'll be using the DSP that has the popsicles on it. So I have already cut the DSP to go on the card. And this is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. So 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my silicone craft sheet and my Stampin' Seal Plus. And we will go ahead and adhere this. If you have watched my earlier videos, I was really struggling with the Stampin' Seal Plus, but I am now. We are getting along a lot better. So it just took a little practice. So if you're having some problems with yours, just keep practicing. And then I have basic white. I stamped just like I did on the first card. And Granny Apple Green, Bermuda Bay, and Daffodil Delight. Only this time, the basic white measures 4 1/4 by 3 1/2. And I'm going to pop this up using dimensionals. And I'm going to put one in each corner and one in the middle. So I've added my dimensionals. I've taken the tops off. I'm going to turn this over, bring in our card, and go ahead and pop it up in the middle, like so. And then I have stamped from our stamp set, Treat Yourself. So I stamped that on the basic white. And I could add that. I could add it right in the middle. I could add it down here. I think I'm going to put it right here in the middle. So let me go ahead and add some dimensionals. I think 2 dimensionals is all you need. Take the tops off. And we will add that right down here. Okay, so this is a step up. So we started out Treat Yourself. We just stamped on the card. Then we've added a layer to step it up, a layer of DSP. And then we popped up our 3 popsicles. And instead of stamping on the card, which you could do up here, we went ahead and stamped it and cut that out with using our trimmer. And so we have stepped it up. We're going to step it up one more step. I actually have already put this card together. So the way I stepped it up, I used the basic white card base as I did on all the other 2 cards. And I'm using Bermuda Bay, cut at 5 1/4 by 4. And then the Popsicle Designer Series paper. And then I again stamped 3 popsicles, only this time I did not stamp the Daffodil Delight. Instead, I stamped using Blackberry Bliss. And then I popped this up with dimensionals, and I added the Blackberry Bliss ribbon and made a bow. And I decided to make this a happy birthday card, although you still could go ahead and use the same. Treat yourself. And I stamped happy birthday. Now, you have a choice. You could just give the card to someone this way, and you could stamp happy birthday inside, or we could add happy birthday on the front. So we could put it like this. We could put it down here. We could put it across here. So what do you think? That's what I'm not sure about the happy birthday. Do I want to just stamp it inside, or do I want to put it on the front of my card? So you can leave me a comment down below and tell me if you think the happy birthday should go on the front of the card, or should we just leave it like this and then stamp happy birthday inside. And I have one more card to show you, but right now we have the simple stamping, and then we stepped it up by adding a Designer Series paper, and then we added a layer of Bermuda Bay, Designer Series paper, and the bow. So those are some ideas how you can go from simple stamping and step it up. Let me show you one more card that's a different design than this. For this card, we're going to use the popsicle, and we're also going to use these little circles here, little decoration. So we have our card base, and it's 8.5 by 5.5. And then I'm going to bring in a little decoration, little circle, and crumb cake. Here we go. Now we're ready. I wanted to stamp off and then stamp on. So I will be doing some full strength, but most of it I'm going to ink up, stamp off, and then stamp on. And then I may just stamp twice on. So stamp off, on, ink up, stamp off. And then you can do full strength also in a couple, just to kind of give it a little contrast. So stamp off and on. You can turn. So you can turn your stamp if you want to kind of give it a different feel. And it looks like maybe I need some in here. And see the edge up there, so I'm going to stamp and maybe down here. All right, we're going to put some DSP over here on the left, so I'm not so worried about that. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in just a scrap of basic white. I'm going to stamp my popsicle in Bermuda Bay. And then ink up the top, stamp off, and add this. And then we'll close up Bermuda Bay and bring in our crumb cake to make our stick. To add our stick right underneath here. perfect. And then we're going to use the layering oval dies. And I'm going to use 2 of these. So I'm going to use the largest one in Bermuda Bay, and then the one right under that to die cut our popsicle. Okay, and I have already done this, so let me show you. Here is our popsicle die cut out and our Bermuda Bay layering oval. Did I say circle? Oval. These are ovals. Okay. All right, let me lay that aside. And then I'm going to bring in an 1.5 inch designer series paper with the popsicles. And we are going to adhere this to here. But I need to go ahead, and you can either use the trimmer, or sometimes you can go ahead and glue it on here and then clip it off. But I think I can do that by holding it right now. And I'll bring in my silicone craft sheet. And we will, let's see, I was telling you how well that this is working for me, and then now, there we go. It's starting to act up a little bit. All right, so now we're going to add our designer series paper right here on the left of our card. And I had Bermuda Bay scrap that I cut the oval out. And then I would just go ahead and cut a strip of Bermuda Bay like this. And we're going to lay this right beside here. I'm going to bring in the liquid glue because I think it's just easier to add just a really thin strip of glue. And then we'll turn that over and line it up right next to our designer series paper. And always kind of make sure, sometimes it wants to make sure you have it at the top here like you want it. And over to the side. And I may need to just clip a little bit here on the back. So I can just take my snips and even that out. Okay, now we're going to bring in our popsicle and Bermuda Bay and add this to our card. Before I do that, I want to go ahead and stamp our greeting. So I'm going to bring in the Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'm going to stamp over here in the corner, bring back, you can see me. Bring back our mat. And then I am going to bring in the oval punch, and it is in the mini catalog. And I'm just going to use the largest. There's a large oval and a smaller one. So I'm just going to place that right over here. And punch that out. And of course, you could, these do layer on top of each other. So you could do one color and one in a different color. But I'm just going to use, for this card, just the basic white, Treat Yourself. I'm going to pop up the popsicle with dimensionals. Just going to put 3 right down the middle, like that. And then we will place it on the Bermuda Bay. And we'll turn this over and add adhesive. And I'm going to add it just a little bit higher than the halfway. So a little more room at the bottom than the top. So like this. And then I'm going to bring in our oval, which is tucked under here, and add some dimensionals to that. And I think 2 will work fine. You could put 3. And then we're going to put Treat Yourself right down here. So here's our card. Treat yourself. And you could, of course, put any greeting sentiment there you wanted to. Okay, let's look at the cards that we made today. So here are all 4 cards. The simple stamping right on, we stamped right on the card base. We stepped it up with DSP and stamped on cardstock and cut that out. And then we stepped it up with an extra layer Bermuda Bay, the DSP, and the Blackberry Bliss ribbon. And then our 3rd card is just a different design, but again, using popsicles. So it's all about popsicles today. So if you liked any of the cards, please comment, let me know. Click that like button. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it's given you some inspiration, and have a wonderful week. Thanks for watching.